There is a fine line between the darkest truth and complete insanity. And the case we're about to dive into today crosses that line not just once, but several times. It all began on a winter night, February 3rd, 1984, in the peaceful, snowy landscape of southern Sweden, a Nordic country known for its serenity, but which would become the stage for one of the most extraordinary and disturbing alien contact accounts in modern history. At the center of this enigma is Ante Jansson, a 41-year-old man with an established life, a job, a wife, children, and a passion for photography. An ordinary person with an ordinary routine. But in the early hours of that morning, his reality shattered on an ice-covered road near Skänninge, a region of vast farmlands where the population density is low. He was found by the police in a state of pure shock, hyperventilating, with his fingers curled like claws. What did he see? What did he experience? The initial report was already chilling. A gigantic black object, described as a submarine, hovering, and small, square-shaped creatures that grabbed him and dragged him into the snow. But that was just the beginning. Jansson's story would evolve from a terrifying encounter into a saga of interplanetary travel, meetings with beings of light, and, the most shocking detail of all, the existence of clones left on Earth to cover the abductees' absence. According to Jansson, hundreds of these copies inhabit Sweden alone. Prepare yourself. Today on Alien Cases, we will analyze every detail, every twist, and the three crucial pieces of evidence that transform the testimony of a man in shock into a UFO phenomenon that resonates to this day. What happened on the snowy road of Insjön, Sweden? Let's unravel the story of Ante Jansson. It was the early hours of a freezing Friday, around 1 a.m., when Ante Jansson was leaving a friend's house after dinner and a pleasant evening. He was driving from Växjö to Tingrid, where he lived, in the Skänninge region, known as the horse capital, amid a traditional culture of small towns and farmlands. The drive, which would normally take 25 to 30 minutes, was treacherous. The temperature was 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and the road was slick, with an intense snowstorm falling obligately. Jansson, a cautious driver, was going slowly, reducing his speed even further as he approached a spot known for moose crossings. It was in this moment of heightened attention that he spotted something unusual. On the other side of the road, he saw a small figure. His first assumption was that it was a child, but the time, after 1 a.m., and the figure's solitude in the snow increased the strangeness. While pondering the figure, his gaze was diverted to the left, through the side window. There, about 330 feet away, at the edge of the field, hovered an object that made him look twice. Jansson slowed almost to a stop and opened the window for a better view. It was an oblong, massive object, which he described as a submarine with curved ends, nearly 260 feet long and between 16 to 33 feet high. Unlike other accounts, the object was completely black and emitted neither light nor sound. He tried to locate the small figure he had seen before, but when he looked in the rear-view mirror, it had vanished. Moved by a photographer's instinct,
Jansson thought of his camera. Aware that he needed proof, he decided to race home to retrieve it. He drove quickly, despite the slippery road, briefly awoke his wife to tell her about the sighting, and left again, asking her to lock the doors. Around 2 a.m., he was back at the location, but the object was gone. After a few minutes of fruitless searching, he decided to return home and go to sleep. However, the mystery was not yet over.
As he approached an intersection to turn around, Jansson saw something blocking the road just ahead. It was the black object again, this time appearing to be between 165 to 200 feet wide and 65 to 100 feet high, hovering a few inches off the ground. His car's headlights revealed the craft, causing him to slam on the brakes in a panic. Because of the ice, the car skidded and spun, sliding into a ditch on the side of the road, trapped in a snowbank. While attempting to maneuver, he ended up colliding with the object, which in seconds disappeared. The next attempt to get out of the stuck car was on foot. Jansson opened the car door to try to push it. As soon as he put his foot out, a creature grabbed him and pulled him out of the vehicle. The being was small, about 3 feet 11 inches tall, completely dark with a hood that hid its face. He described its body shape as square, with no visible legs, and moving as if it were hovering. He screamed and fought with all his might, managing to momentarily break free and running toward some nearby houses. But before he could reach salvation, new beings emerged from the darkness and overpowered him. He was grabbed by 3 of these creatures simultaneously, who were pulling him and trying to drag him toward the roadside. He soon understood why. A second, larger black object, or perhaps the same one as before, now larger, was hovering about 65 feet above the fields, 500 feet away. Jansson's resistance was desperate. He felt that the creatures were machines or faceless, completely black beings floating a few inches above the ground. It was at this instant of absolute terror that the lights of an approaching vehicle illuminated the scene. A truck was rolling and slowing down. The creatures immediately released him and vanished. Jansson tried to run back to the car but fell, exhausted and in shock. He crawled the last few feet in the snow, managed to get into the car, and immediately locked the doors. He doesn't know how long he stayed there, but he was awakened by knocks on the window. Convinced they were the creatures returning, he only dared to open the door when he saw that it was 2 police officers. After that, he remembers nothing until waking up in the hospital. The initial call to the police, which led to Jansson's discovery, came from a man named Ante Jansson. Around 2:30 a.m., Johansson called from a phone booth, reporting that he had seen a car stopped sideways and a black object hovering over it, with no lights or sound. Frightened, he had turned around on the road and called from a neighboring village. Although the police asked him to wait, he was not there when they arrived. Upon finding Jansson's car and the man at the wheel, the police wrote a report that became crucial. Jansson was sitting with his car in the snowbank, the lights off, and a camera lens case next to him. More importantly, his physical state was terrible. His arms and hands were extremely tense, with his fingers curled like claws, and he was shaking violently. The police took him to Växjö Central Hospital, where doctors confirmed his state: completely shocked, hyperventilating, and staring fixedly at the floor. The medical diagnosis was pure psychological shock. The doctor gave him Valium, and Jansson could only respond with the brief yes when asked if he had gone through something terrible and felt afraid. Jansson was a stable individual with a job, family, and no history of mental imbalance. The hospital confirmed that, apart from the shock, he was completely healthy. However, because of the nervous breakdown, he was transferred to a psychiatric clinic for a few days, a time he compared to an extended scene from the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Despite the initial skepticism of some police officers who even suggested the story was an invention to conceal something illicit, the police report contained physical evidence: the tire marks in the snow, the footprints showing the struggle and the escape, and, undeniably, Jansson's health status. The police even conducted subsequent investigations at the site, with measurements and sketches. The officer questioned Jansson, who pleaded for the story to be kept secret for fear of public ridicule. The police kept the promise, but since no follow-up action was taken, Jansson became disappointed and eventually contacted a newspaper, revealing the full story in an article that became a landmark in November of that year. 3 circumstances strengthened the account, making it undeniable for ufologists: Jansson's credibility, an established man with no vices and no history of mental imbalance; the vanished eyewitness, Bengt Johansson's call reporting a black object over Jansson's car, although never found again, perhaps for fear of getting involved in a flying saucer story. His call confirms the object's presence at the crucial moment. And the unfakeable shock. The police and the doctor attested to Jansson's state of physical shock, with convulsions and muscle tension. It is impossible to fake the pure terror that gripped him, proving that he truly experienced something terrible that night.
The encounter on the road was only the doorway. After resuming his routine, Jansson began to feel a peculiar sensation, a nocturnal calling, as if someone were nudging him. On March 6, 1984, approximately 1 month later, he awoke feeling a hand on his shoulder. He felt compelled to get dressed and go outside. Near a street lamp, he spotted a tall man in a black coat. The being did not speak, but urged him to follow. Jansson noticed the white, elongated face, and the most striking feature: the being had no feet, moving as if it were hovering. He followed the man to a smaller object, which emitted a greenish-white light. Jansson felt himself raised 100 feet high on an invisible platform, while a voice telepathically calmed him. After 15 seconds, he was lowered back to the yard. The object then moved away, accompanied by 4 orbs of light that shone intensely and seemed to be absorbed by the earth.
This was the beginning of a series of contacts. Jansson meticulously documented hundreds of pages about his subsequent experiences, which included trips to 4 planets. On one occasion, in April 1984, he was taken aboard the craft which had a main window. From there, he saw an inhabited planet with advanced cities and different fauna. The nuclear warning. In August 1984, he was awakened and led to the craft, where he interacted with 3 small beings and the tall man. He received a mysterious drink and the instruction to warn humanity about the production of nuclear bombs, which, according to them, would lead to destruction. Friendship with Jeannie. In 1985, he met a being named Jeannie, who looked like a young woman but was over 50 years old and claimed to have been studying him since he was 3. She showed him stunning planets where the inhabitants lived in harmony and worked only 2 to 3 times a week. At a crucial point in his interplanetary journey, he was confronted with the most terrifying fact of his entire story. He was informed that during his 6 days of absence in the planet's time, which equaled 13 hours on Earth, the beings left an identical humanoid with the same appearance, language, behavior, and memories to act as him on Earth and avoid suspicion. Jansson was invited to remain on one of the planets. Upon refusing, he was informed that this procedure had already been performed on other humans, and that according to him, at least 200 of these clones live in Sweden. Ante Jansson's interactions extended for years until the mid-2000s, and he compiled it all in a book offering a comprehensive narrative which even delved into deep topics such as the origin of Christianity. His story today remains criticized by some as fantastical, but is highly detailed and believed by others. Ante Jansson lived a nightmare in the snow that catapulted him into a universe of interplanetary wonders and dangers, with the sinister warning about the fragility of our reality. He saw an object, was grabbed, and returned with the most controversial story a human being could carry, that there are substitutes walking among us. What does your intuition tell you about today's account? Is Jansson's story proof of a devastating psychological shock, or the revelation of an intergalactic conspiracy? Is there a piece of this puzzle, a detail, a coincidence, the small figure, or the disappearance of the witness Johansson that for you is the key to everything? If you were in the witness's shoes, how would you tell this story? Share your reflections and theories in the comments section. Your participation is essential to illuminate these mysteries. And if this deep dive into the universe's enigmas has ignited a flame of curiosity in you, support our mission. Every like you leave on this video is a beacon for the YouTube algorithm, showing that the exploration of mysteries like this must continue. It's a support that drives us to go deeper into the next case. Check right now to see if you are subscribed to Alien Cases. We count on you to unravel what lies in the dark.